Greetings and welcome back to Uncorked-N-Conversation. Hello, ladies. How are we doing tonight? Today,
Hello,
tonight?
hello,
Great.
hello.
Doing
It is,
well.
yes,
Well.
wonderful. It's wonderful to see your smiling faces. It's been quite a while since we chatted.
Oh yes, and
Yeah.
it's been a while, and guess what we forgot to do?
What do we
Mm.
forget to do? Oh,
Oh my
card.
gosh.
Ding,
Yes,
ling,
yes,
ling, ling,
yes.
ling.
Come on, I know it's
What are
been
we
a
sip-
minute, but come on.
What are we sipping on tonight, ladies?
Of course, it's Merlot for me.
Merlot, madam.
Gotta
Yeah,
be
she loves.
red.
That's what I was about to say. It has to be red for her. I'm
Oh,
actually sipping on, my usual is Chardonnay, but tonight I am sipping on Pinot Grigio,
Ah, wonderful.
a
oh,
product of
Pinot, Pinot.
of Italy. So it's a lot
Yes.
lighter and airier, and I think I'll enjoy that tonight.
Ah, enjoy, enjoy.
Okay, okay. April, I will join you.
Mm.
Since
I will
my
see your Pinot
birthday.
Grigio and
Well,
raise you.
mine is Della wait a minute. Torosso della Regina Rose. And it's also from Italy. I got it for my birthday. So yeah,
Oh, fall, fall,
Enjoy.
fall.
celebrate it. Not quite as sweet as I like. However,
Hmm.
it's doing the job. I'm still gonna drink it.
I know that's right.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. So what's been
Yeah.
happening since we met last, ladies? A lot
What
has
has
gone
not
on.
happened?
I know, yes. Um, one of the eh, eh, I'm just gonna throw it out, the Derek Chauvin trial. Whew.
Mm,
Yes.
honey.
I don't know about y'all, but first of all, I couldn't watch every when they talked about announcing the verdict, and they were saying that the verdict was going to be announced whatever day it was at 4:30 or at 5 p.m. I couldn't watch it because I knew even I don't know if y'all remember from way back when we were like watching the OJ trial, just being on pins and needles, not knowing what the jury was going to say or what the judge was going to say the jury said and how long they were going to drag it out. And I just knew that if I just listened to it being drug out, I would spontaneously combust because I was very emotionally invested in the story of the Derek Chauvin trial, the story of George Floyd and him being murdered. And I was not going to stand for a verdict other than guilty. So I was very pleased to hear the guilty on all charges verdict as it was announced. Um, Anybody remember what those charges all were?
Mm, honey.
I'm gonna look them up.
Let's see. I think second degree murder.
Yeah. Oops.
I think was it second or third manslaughter or something in there?
Yeah, there was.
Um, because I want to say there was three or four charges.
Yeah.
Um, I know those two. I can't remember the
I think I
other
got it.
two.
I think I
But you
just
know what?
found it.
Linda, I was not on pins and needles.
Really?
I mean, I had it in my. I knew it would. I couldn't see it like you were saying. You wouldn't accept anything different. I couldn't see it any other way. I was
True.
more afraid that of what would happen if it didn't come back because I knew that people were going to tear things up, and I'm just so against that because that really hurts me because when people tear up businesses, they don't discriminate. They're tearing up
Right.
everybody's business. This could be their own
Yeah.
business,
Which has
and it could
always
be black.
troubled me. I've never understood that.
Yeah, yes, I'm with that too. I believe in marching, have my signs, chanting, all that. I believe in all of that. I don't believe in tearing up people's property because they pay for their property. They care
Right.
about their property, and
And it's
I've
not
never
their
believed in
fault.
that. Right,
Whatever you're mad about, it's not
right.
the business owner's fault. So,
No, it's not. It's not. So I've never, and that's what worried me more than anything. But just something in my gut was just saying there is no possible way. This was seen around the world.
Yeah.
Not just in that state, not just in that city. This was around the world.
Could you imagine if the young lady had not recorded the event? They could have.
The results wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, law enforcement could have said anything they wanted to, although you know, the thin blue line was crossed here because his fellow police officers did not support him. And I don't mean the ones that were right there with them. I just mean overall, the overall police force, as the trial went on and people were questioned and people were called as witnesses. He did not have the support of the blue line at all on his side.
He didn't. The blue line or the red line, because though EMSs, there was like, it's no way that they were all troubled by that. So I was watching it periodically. It was it's such an emotional toll on me. I could not sit there and watch it the whole thing. So I would bounce in and out. So when the verdict did come down, I heard about it. People started texting and, you know, put on social media.
Facebook,
I immediately, Facebook. I still immediately was not able to reconcile my feelings yet. So I still did not, haven't been, and I still haven't actually looked at the story myself to process everything, even though I know, you know, he's in jail now and what have you, but I still haven't processed it where I am like, okay, now I can breathe, because I've been holding my breath the whole time. And the whole time I'm holding my breath. And so now I haven't exhaled it yet, put it that way. So I haven't finished processing it to exhale it.
I didn't realize I was holding my breath. Isn't that crazy? Because I had not been watching it, because I knew how emotionally invested I was. I didn't even know I was holding my breath. And then when I saw the verdict and people started sharing, it just a change took place in me. But to your point, I couldn't quite identify the change. It was relief, but it was just a plethora of emotions. And I just couldn't even identify what they all were.
So, and just my take is that the relief, well, let me just say this before I touch on that. So the charges were second-degree murder up to 40 years, third-degree murder up to 25 years, and second-degree manslaughter up to 10.
Thank you, Tracy.
So,
yes.
In that case, the federal grand jury indicted the other officers today. We'll see how that goes.
I see that after.
But as far as just holding your breath, it's just so unfortunate that we've seen this kind of thing, perhaps some on video where the injustice has been carried out. But again, still no justice for the victim, you know, to get this kind of outcome, if I may. So holding our breath is because we're like, is this, excuse my language, is this shit gonna happen again? Are they gonna get away with this thing again, where this was blatant?
Before the trial was over. Before the trial was over, it happened again.
Right, exactly.
Well, another
right down the street.
Right
down the street.
And so with that, so we're just, and so we African Americans, Black people, we've been gunned down, we've been lynched, we've been, you know, taken out, if I may, on just so many different occasions. It's just been, so that's why, again, I agree, holding our breath, hopeful that at least this one will be, justice will serve this one with a favorable outcome. And in addition to that, it's been said here today, I believe, that this same Chauvin officer had also, I think in maybe 2019, had held a 14-year-old down by the knee on his neck for 17 minutes in that case, and beat him with a flashlight. So this guy, this is his MO. This is who he is. And so apparently he is filing some sort of appeal. Because the gentleman, there was a juror on the jury who went to a rally and I think he had a Black Lives Matter t-shirt or something.
That's what they're alleging, yeah.
Right, so he's appealing this because of that, meaning he did not get a fair trial. But it's my understanding that these jurors were vetted.
They were, and there were more white jurors than black jurors, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that there were 8 white jurors or something like that. And another thing with just regards to the verdict, you know, as I'm watching people on social media celebrate, it wasn't just black and brown people celebrating. This, to your point, this murder was seen around the world. Thank goodness for that video. It was seen around the world. And I say thank goodness for it, because you cannot deny what was being shown on that video, not being videotaped by officers, being videotaped by a citizen, a concerned citizen. And everybody knows that was murder. He can appeal all he likes. I don't think that it's going to make a bit of difference, because the court of public opinion tends to agree with the actual court. And so I think that, and I'm praying that the verdict will be upheld.
Well, what's so unfortunate is that the defense was pretty much asking all of us, and I say all of us on purpose, to not see what we saw.
Yes.
And that for me was disrespectful.
Yes.
That was very disrespectful to me, as a human, as a citizen, as a sound mind person. You're asking me to not see this man kneel on this man's neck and kill him. You're telling me not to see that because, you know, because he had some, I guess some, you know, some resistance, if I may, because we have to call it as we did. He did resist.
Yes,
he did.
But it didn't call for murder.
No.
Exactly.
It did.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And then
it was pitiful.
And then there's this, you know, there's another case a few other cases going on where
oh my gosh, it's like well, first of all, when Paulette, you mentioned that there was another case that took place while this trial was going on. I'm believing that you're referring to the Dante Wright case, where the young man, 20 years old, I think he was 19, 20 years old, and he was in the car. Was he with his girlfriend or with someone else?
Right, his girlfriend was in the car. Yes, his girlfriend was in the car.
And apparently, I don't know all the details, but he was stopped. Apparently, there was a warrant for him. I don't know if he tried to run to get away and get back to his car, but he tried to drive off, from what I understand. And the police officer that shot.
He never got out of his car.
Oh, he didn't. Okay.
No, he never.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did.
Dante Wright. Yes, they pulled him out.
Yeah.
Okay,
but they pulled him out. They stopped him for an air freshener in the rearview mirror. He was on the phone with his mother, and he told his mother that they were asking for the car insurance, and she says, okay, when the cops come back, tell them I have the insurance. Just put them on the phone. They came back, and he was trying to tell them, and they wouldn't listen to him. They just said, get out the car, and they pulled him. They made him get out of the car. Okay, he was trying, and then he resisted and got back in the car, but there was one cop on him that had, I believe, had the stun gun on him, but then the other cop came up, the lady, I don't remember her name. I really don't care to remember her name, but anyway.
Don't worry, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, and it's fine. I mean, I could care less to even keep that in my memory, but I know what it be.
Yeah, I know.
So she's yelling, taser, taser. She's yelling taser, but at no time did she ever have her taser out. She had her hand on. She had the gun out the entire time. And then, but her excuse is she thought she was reaching for her taser when she never had it out.
Right.
She never had the taser out. In 26 year or something like that, 20 something year veteran on the force and supposed to be training people. But you never had your taser out, dear. So don't try it.
Kimberly Potter. Kimberly Potter is her name. I want her name out there because it needs to be said. Yeah.
Yeah, you go right ahead. I'm just giving the attitude for it.
I know.
It's just, don't do it.
I know that's right. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, and again, yes, some resistance, like Tracy said, we have to call things as they are, but we are, Black people are disproportionately meeting our demise from these regular, what should be regular officer interactions.
Little things.
Yes.
Even the other one that just happened, that they just buried the man, it wasn't a violent crime like he killed anybody.
One out
Are you talking about Elizabeth City?
Yes.
Andre
That's
Brown.
what I'm not understanding.
Is that his name?
These people, as they want to call us, you people, they call yourself law enforcement. Why are you so intense over us, over the smallest thing? Now, you went to this man's house to serve a warrant to him on possible some drugs, but it wasn't he killed somebody, he hurt somebody, he maimed somebody, none of that. And then he's trying to get away. When they're getting away from you, they are no longer a threat. That's what keeps coming in my head, and I'm not understanding. You could get them at another time.
Right.
If they're leaving your presence, if they're getting away from you, what is the hurry to shoot and kill these people?
Exactly.
And what bothers me so much is that you'll see the white man in the truck. I don't know if you guys saw this on there. He was ramming the doggone police cars. One was in front, one was in the back. He had a pickup truck. He hit them back and forth. One cop was on the side of his truck, on the driver's side, on standing on the runner. He takes off with the cop in the car with him. He doesn't die.
Wow.
He doesn't die.
And these are questions that need answers. Why is it so easy? And I hate to do all of the comparison, but there comes a point when you have to compare. And the reason I say I hate to do the comparison is because people kept saying, yeah, well, when one of these white guys does a mass shooting, y'all take them out alive. And that is true. Different situations, different cops. That was why I didn't like to do the comparison. However, we are talking about a disproportionate number of Black people that in a small situation in the grand scheme of it all are being killed pretty readily and easily by law enforcement, whereas people who have already shot up a place are not being taken with lethal force, and that bothers me. That should have us writing letters, calling it out, calling law enforcement out, calling legislation out. This has got to stop. It has to stop.
Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you the thought behind all of this. I would say maybe late 80s, early 90s, something like that. There was a lawyer, and he put out this, either was a book or something that he put out. This is the blueprint of all of the police officers who think, not all police officers, but who are so ready to take us out, put it that way. The thought is Black people are what they call super predators.
Right.
And to them, we are super predators. So what you do to a predator, you take them out, no matter what. Whether it is minor or major, they will have it so that they are the enemy, they are the predator. We would get them before they get us. And that is the mindset that has perpetuated all of these years.
Oh, wow. We need that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the lawyer's name by chance?
I do not. I read it. Maybe it was an article that I read maybe a year or two ago.
Okay.
And I just thought about it because that is their mindset. And I believe, I think what brought it up is that I believe last year somebody was running for something and they said the word super predator.
Oh, they said that Nancy Pelosi called Black people super predators.
That's what they said. Nancy Pelosi said, I didn't say that. She said she didn't say that. I don't know if she did or not. But during the 80s and 90s, that was the term that they used for Black folk. They're super predators. They're, they're bringing drugs, they're killing each other, they're going to kill us. Therefore, they are basically subhuman anyway. So therefore, we need to just go ahead and just take them out. That's
and
the
we
mindset.
don't own no planes. We don't own no planes and trains
Right.
and all that kind of stuff to bring that stuff in here. So
No,
they do all of that and then they blame it on us. We help build this country and they blame it on us. Their kids can walk down the street with ARs across their chest, but as soon as a black person do it, they get questioned. But the white people don't get questioned.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So,
It's a mindset.
I've Googled super predator myth, and it is pretty much, just to reiterate what you said, April, the super predator theory, now often super predator myth, is a theory and criminology that became popular in the 1990s in the United States, posting that there are some impulsive juvenile criminals who are willing to commit violent crimes without remorse. And so those are what they're considering, who they're considering super predators. The super predator myth 25, so they're discussing the super predator myth 25 years later. So as of 4/7/14, they were discussing again the super predator myth. So I encourage our listeners to engage in what this super predator theory is about, and hopefully understand, what again, to just reiterate what April was saying, what this thing is really about. And so and it pretty much we're targeting, if I may, the juvenile system of considering them super predators. So I will engage a little bit more than that. But yeah, I did hear that Nancy Pelosi alluded to Black folk or young Black men as super predators, and again, just pretty much taking them out. And so I think, just to piggyback off of that, I think what happens when the Black men are stopped, and women for that matter, when they appear to be getting away, we can't let them get away. So bang, 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 we're going to kill you before we let you get away. And so that's what I'm seeing here with all of these shootings. 9 times out of 10, they're not resisting. Some of them are, I guess, trying to, because let me just say that these Black men, they're afraid for their lives too now when they're stopped.
Absolutely.
Women, they're afraid for their lives. So,
and women.
And before you kill me, I'm going to try to get away because I know you're going to kill me. When that stop comes now, Black men think that this is my death sentence. So they're trying to get away. My son, for example, he was stopped. Apparently, he was thought to be someone else. Apparently, this guy used his name or some kind of way he looked. They say all Black people look alike, but that is not true. But apparently he looked like someone else. And what's unfortunate is that because a lot of our Black men are wearing their hair natural, so it does appear that some of them are looking alike just based on their hairstyles. And that's why I encourage our Black men, our young Black men, because I'm just want to say that our older Black men do have belts on, but our younger generation, pull your damn pants up, because for that reason alone, you look like the next guy because all your pants are moving down. So with that said, my son was pulled over. The cops, the police officers said he looked like someone else. He had his ID, he had everything he needed. He was not that person. They made my son, and this was in a cold month, like maybe February, they made him take his jacket off. They made him take his shirt off. He had a t-shirt on. They made him take his t-shirt off. out in the middle of the street because whoever they were looking for had a tattoo on their back. So they made my son take his clothes off for the most part to make sure he was not that guy that had the tattoo on his back. So my son was not that guy with the tattoo on his back, but yet they still handcuffed him and detained him for an hour. You know? And so what I encouraged my son to do was go to the police stations in this area and just say, hey, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Tell them all that I'm not that guy because you guys are stopping me and I'm not that guy. You may, God forbid, he run into a trigger happy somebody and he's not that guy.
Right.
You know, so it's so unfortunate. Our Black men are afraid. And I've heard that the police officers, they're afraid because there are people carrying guns and they're getting killed too. So the police officers are just as afraid, but our Black men are afraid. We are running for our lives, literally, as well as the women. We are, when we see that siren, we have a whole psyche that we
and not just afraid and endangered, because it's you know, it's fear for a reason. We are literally endangered.
And they say that everybody wants to go home. Well, the police officers need to take that same approach when they stop, make a stop. Everybody wants to go home, including that person you just stopped. They want, you want them to go home and you want to go home too.
I personally think something has to give where I really, and I'm going to ask you guys a question to kind of do some linkages between the police brutality and then also Black on Black crime. But my question or my thought is, what is it that we can do to bring more awareness and to start to get police departments to start to realize or to actually take some action, because I think they realize what is happening, but to take some action. There obviously needs to be some reform. I don't necessarily think it's defunding. As we mentioned in an earlier episode, I had talked about defunding, but absolutely not. Maybe we need to add funds because maybe there needs to be some better training. Maybe there needs to be some better psychological screening, all of those things. I am personally prepared to write to these police departments. The Minnesota Police Department, I want to write to first to let them know my outrage. I want to say they need to understand you're on the hot seat right now. We are Black mothers, sisters, aunts, cousins, grandmothers, and you're going to stop killing our men and women. You're going to stop this. Our future, these young people hold our future in their hands. If you continue to try to eliminate us, what are we going to have? Who is going to be here to be left behind to carry on our legacy if you keep doing this to us? And it doesn't matter to you, but guess who it does matter to? It matters to us. And I'm prepared to write to say, hey, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. And we see you. We see you, you know? So I
do agree with that. I do agree with, as you mentioned, training, better psychological assessment,
screening. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But also I think recruitment should be a big part of it. Maybe we should start recruiting our own more Black men and women on the force. We can enforce ourselves, maybe going to the high school, start recruiting there, and getting to the mindset that, you know, there are some good police officers and you can be one too, you know, that type of theory.
Absolutely. I like that.
Other than that, I don't know. I know money talks, so I don't agree with defunding it, but definitely pull resources into diversity.
Right.
May make a difference.
I'm just gonna say I agree. Yeah, definitely. You know, I was thinking about what happened in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
That police officer wasn't white.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
That's true.
we don't know the details, you know, and all of that. It happened to hear this and that, you know.
That brings me to a question. Why is that every time something happens in Virginia Beach, nothing comes out. I still don't know what happened in the
mass shooting.
The mass shooting that happened
Let me tell
at the courthouse. I still don't know what happened about that. There are always,
but I'm gonna tell you. You remember when it first happened and they talked about the fact that that young man, they believed that young man had been bullied. I remember how they worded it. They said they believed he had been bullied. That is your answer. And nobody wants to admit it. They won't say it. They keep saying unfounded. It is not unfounded. I'm not saying it is right to shoot people who bully you, but bullying is something that we've got to eliminate. That has got, because it has now, it used to be just about childhood, but now it has carried over into adulthood. First of all, people are carrying the trauma of being bullied with them into adulthood. So when something similar or the exact same thing happens as adults, now we're more deadly because we're adults. We're not just going to fight. We may have a gun. We have a right to carry a gun, you know, and these devastating things take place. But that's what they said early on, and they never said another word about it.
No.
And I still don't know. Tell you. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I know what it's like to work in a hostile work environment. So I understand. I get it.
Yes.
But yeah, that, and then, you know, the one that you just mentioned in, you know, on the strip, haven't heard a peep since it happened.
Yeah, I think it's the leaders, and I don't know y'all's leaders, you know, all that well, Tracy Paulette, but I'm hearing things about Virginia Beach's leaders, that, you know, they're just not a good crop. I don't know. What is y'all's experience?
I don't have one.
As far as much as I understand is, you know, and this is with all due respect.
It always is.
that Virginia's always been a racist state.
There you go.
So you know,
but now they have a Black city manager though.
Well, but it's been a long time coming, and there's work to be done.
There's work to be done.
Okay,
I agree with that.
And so yeah, I mean, although, you know, and what gets me is we've got the first, you know, whenever there's a Black person who's doing something, we've got the first Black person doing this. So this is the first Black person that's been in this office. But that's a race, to me, that's a racist statement.
I've always felt that way.
And it always has been. So
but is it really, Tracy? Is it really a racist statement? Because whose fault is it that they're not there? Is it
I don't know that it's racist.
I won't say it's racist.
It's racist, Paula.
But I'm gonna tell you, who's making it racist though? Is my point. Because if they're saying something, to me, it sounds historical. I understand maybe first may sound like it's racist, but whose fault is it if they are the first? Is it the whole demographic? Is it everybody that's voting for them? Is it the qualified people that try to go up for the job? You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's not just here. And I think that's really general, just saying Virginia's a racist state, because there's all of them have racism in all those states.
But the question that Linda presented was what's going on with your leaders. I'm speaking, I live in the state of Virginia. So I'm speaking to the Virginia, the Commonwealth, government. If I may, the fact that it's always been depicted as a racist state. You know, a lot of slaves came through here. There's been.
We're not the only state that slaves came through.
I'm speaking to the question of your leaders. So I'm speaking to the Virginia. And yes, of course, the board is racism. Clearly, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, really, there's been racism throughout, as far as I know. So what I'm saying in that respect is, when I say it's a racist comment, I think that it's nobody's fault. Well, it is a fault, because if we go back to the history, these are the same folk that wouldn't let Black folk read a book. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean. So when we finally get to a point that we can educate ourselves, and that that we're seen to be as just as intelligent as the white man, if I can clear my throat, then yes, we get certain positions because we are equally, if not more qualified than the white guy that I sit next to that's getting more money than me, or the white girl that's got the position because of her skin color and her privilege. If I can, again, just tell my piece of the story, again, the racism of the nation, and that's the fault, because they had their knees on our necks for so long, and that's why we are and not so much just arriving, but that's why we are finally arriving in these certain prestigious positions, because now we are qualified. And now you can step aside because I am qualified. And because I'm qualified, I'm not going to allow you to keep your knee on my neck. Get your knee off my neck and let me move about. And so when I say it's a racist statement, I mean that sincerely, because you're the first Black person to do this, and you're the first Black person to do that. But because you did not give me the opportunity to prove my worth. So understanding your worth is very, very important. And I will say it again and again and again and again. It's a racist statement. And every time I hear it, it's a racist statement to me. Because the first—
Are you saying it's racist in the context is like, my best friend is Black? Is that what you meaning?
Oh,
because
not.
when you
no, I don't.
Okay, because when you say you're the first, to me that's accolades. That's a wonderful thing. But I'm trying to understand the context that you're putting it in. You're saying as though, my best friend is Black, so therefore I'm not racist. So that's what you're saying.
I think it's more manipulation. What I hear is more manipulation.
Okay,
no. and well, I just wanted to tag on when Tracy was saying, when you hear the first Black this, the first Black that, even with Kamala Harris as vice president, almost every time it is said, I always, and I'll never say this out loud, I always say it to myself, that's a shame. That is always my response. And
the reason I don't, because the opportunities were not presented until now. And so we clap for that.
But it feels like manipulation. Yeah.
We clap, but damn it, we could have been done that. We could have done that.
I'm not understanding it.
I don't know if the word racist is what I would say, but it kind of is racist propaganda in a way.
To me, period.
It's saying that, it's they're the first Black, so therefore I put it in a context,
and I agree,
in another way, because I am not told.
I agree 100% with Paulette when she said that it's
historical, it's accolades, it's historical.
Exactly, I agree with that. So they're
making history.
They're presenting the history of it. Mm-hmm. But because we live in this racist country for so long, the history of it has been racism. If we had been treated equally from the front door, we wouldn't have to be a first Black nothing. It could just be, well, Kamala Harris is the vice president,
but you know what, Tracy, I got you. However, and I understand our history, and I love our history. I really do. And I'm not saying to take away from it. I'm not saying to stop talking about it and all that good stuff. But things happen in a time which we don't know why God put things in place that happen at a certain time, is the way that I feel like it. Now is the time. We're starting to see things change. We started seeing things change when Obama was in office. For 8 years, we started to see things change. I've never in my life seen a president that was so disrespected by so many people. You started seeing people that was judges. You start seeing senators, and you start seeing all these high up people saying things out of their mouth, and they're being recorded, and then they're losing their jobs behind this stuff. So things are changing. Things are changing, and they're changing and going forward. And I love the idea of it's going forward. And I just have an issue with continuing to live in the past. I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it. Yeah, it should have been done 100, 200, 300 years ago, but it didn't. It is happening now, and we are alive to actually see this happen. And hopefully we could groom this next group that's coming so that they could keep it going. We're starting to see more Black people as judges, and more lawyers, and more of them that are politicians in all these different states to start to try to make changes. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But to keep harping on the same thing, this is racist, that is racist, this is racist, that's you're racist. When can we live in the glory of everything that is going on and say, yes, that stuff is racist, this is how I feel about it, but this is what we're going to do about it to make a change?
Right.
And you know what you just did there, Paula? It's a matter of changing the narrative, and that's exactly what you just did, and I applaud that.
And by all means, I don't live in the past of anything. I am a present being. So no, I don't harp. But if in my opinion, if you don't know your history, it will repeat in your face. And so what I'm saying is that the opportunities present themselves today to us. And so therefore we are moving ahead, and we are doing big things, and there is, again, very much work to do. However, when we accomplish something, I don't think that it should be a staple of the first Black anything. She, for example, Keisha Bottoms is the mayor of Atlanta. And I think that they depicted her as the first Black mayor of such and such years, blah, 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 blah. Why can't she just be the mayor of Atlanta opposed to being the first Black? Because
let me interject you just for 1 second. And I think I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna try to connect what you're saying and what Paulette's saying. Being the first, when the second come, then we will stop saying the first. When the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth, but there gotta be a first. And if now is the time for that first to happen, then I don't believe that's racist.
That statement is irrelevant.
But it will be.
I don't think so.
That will be
it's
irrelevant.
Historic. It can't be irrelevant. It's historic.
It will be. It will not be. We will not be saying the first. Once the first happened, and that lays the ground for others to come behind that person, there is no need to say the first. But that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree, because that's what we do.
Yeah,
again,
sure.
It's my opinion, and by no means do I live in the past. If anyone's in the present, it is I, because I know that you can't change. I don't worry about yesterday. I take care of today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. That is my theory.
Absolutely. You don't have to defend yourself.
I wasn't asking. We were just.
No, that wasn't no defense. That's the fact.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say defense. I said you were defending yourself.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
That was for our audience in case they don't know her.
Yeah,
we know her.
We weren't talking about you personally anyway. We were talking about the whole situation of the word racist, and like you were saying, the first and all that.
Because I wasn't getting it. I was trying to understand the context of it, and that's how we kind of did that. Lady, so great how about we? Great discussion.
Well, great discussion, ladies. Thank you so much. This has been we needed to get this stuff out, and I'm glad we had such an animated discussion. There's more to come with this as well. I've got some other things I want to bring up, and I see you ladies chomping at the bit to bring up some other topics too, and we'll definitely add on to this. Please listen to us in our upcoming episodes. Before we go, I do want to let you know where to find us. On Facebook, we are at Uncorked-N-Conversation. That is uncorked dash the letter N dash conversation. On Facebook at Uncorked-N-Convo, and on Twitter at Uncorked-N, at Uncorked capital letter N. So please give us a listen. And of course, we are on all podcast streaming services. Take a listen to us. Leave us a review. We would love to hear your feedback. So definitely leave us a review. Thanks again, ladies. And until next time.
Be well.
Thank you for listening to Uncorked in Conversation. This podcast is co-hosted by Linda White, April N. Brown, Tracy Langford, Paulette Irvy, and Sarita Bostic. It is produced and edited by April N. Brown. The music is by Ben Sound.